start at the top with our Power Ranger. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello there. So I go by The Avenger. I pronounce it he, him, his. Been cosplaying for about since 2012, on and off for a little while, and then like mainly got back on active again as of 2019. Yeah.
Hi, I'm JoJo. I'm JoJo's Bazaar on TikTok and JoJo's Bazaar Cos on Instagram. I've been cosplaying for about 4 years, and I'm from Louisiana. I'm not from here, so this is a new territory for me, so thank you for having me, and I hope everyone's had a great weekend like I have.
Hi, I am Haley. Sorry about that. My username is Haley MOV on most platforms. I've been cosplaying for like a little over 2 years, so this is a newer space for me. I'm a Houston local. I do cosplay and merch design and Twitch streaming and all the social media things. So that is me. Oh, and she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Mars. I use they, them pronouns, and I've been cosplaying for about 4 years. I wanted to my whole life, but it wasn't really accessible until then. I do a lot of content creation. It's Mars under the stars on all platforms. And yeah, I just kind of specialize on costume design, content creation, and stuff like that.
Hi, I'm Minty Medley on pretty much all platforms, she, her, and I've been cosplaying for about 6 years.
There we go. Yep, my name is Zach, and this is my wife Emily. We're with Kaizena Cosplay from Jackson, Mississippi. I've been cosplaying for about 10 years. We have collectively between sewing, seaming, and foam smithing. But yeah, it's a Lord Master pronoun, and this I can't speak on behalf of my wife.
Oh, this mic cable a little short. Hi. Oh God, that's loud. Hi, my name is Miss Ooh La La, and I've been cosplaying for a very long time. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana, and I specialize in, I do a little of everything. Wigs, crazy wigs, props, using magnets on things, and paddling people, just kidding. Really excited to be here. This is such a fun con. I've enjoyed the hell out of this con. I'm going to pass this to someone else now. Oh, and she, her, or Faye. Did you know that Faye is a pronoun on Instagram? Yeah, I accidentally put F for female. My brain wasn't working. And I was like, oh, I get to choose pronouns. And I pressed F and it F-A-E. So I'm a fairy, apparently. Anyway. Yeah, I didn't know.
Hello, my name is Ash of Dadash Cosplay. I go by he, him, his pronouns. My specialties are primarily in sewing work, but aside from that, I also talk to a lot of convention people about transgender issues within the convention circuit, as well as like making things more inclusive for transgender and gender non-conforming people, as well as people with various different disabilities. Aside from that, I'm also a film drama dual major and specialize in a lot of theatrics.
Hi, I'm Quartz of Quartz Cosplay. I am a gender fluid cosplayer of almost 8 years. Not the gender fluid part, that part was more so a few years ago. My big things are modeling, performance, foam work, prop work, different things of that nature. Within the con circuit, that's also the type of stuff that I run panels on, as well as gender diversity stuff with this one to try to help make cons more inclusive for all of us, so yeah.
Hi, my name is Alan. I am Dragonfire Cosplay. I go by he, him pronouns.
and I have been cosplaying for about 15 years now, and my primary skill is sewing, making like big dramatic ball gowns and stuff like that, pretty much. And that is what I do pretty much full time.
Hi, I'm Kai with Kai and Kari Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for about 7 years. I would say my focus is mostly on competitive costuming, so I do a lot of contests, focusing mostly on fabrication and things of that nature. She, her pronouns. Texas, kind of, Louisiana transplant, I don't know.
Middle, right in the middle.
Right.
Hi, I'm Mai of Bomb and Vomit.
And I'm Hannah.
Sorry. And I've been cosplaying for 12 years, sewing for 15. My partner's been cosplaying for about 6 years, also sewing for 6 years. And we mostly focus on craftsmanship as well as historical and couture techniques. Hand sewing is really like the thing that we enjoy the most and we can speak the most on. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm also, I have my college degree in theater as well as a minor in fashion, so I have a little bit of a higher education when it comes to some of those things.
All right, and I am Astrolins. I'm the cosplay coordinator. I go by he, they. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. And I am so glad to be here, and I'm glad to have these wonderful panels of cosplayers. They're all great, and I love each and every one of them. All right, so does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? And I can bring the mic to you. If not, I can think of a question. Don't be shy.
Keep it appropriate, Kate, ladies.
You can't hurt my feelings. Let's go.
You can hurt mine though.
You can hurt mine too. I won't get it.
You say something, I will cry.
Lynn.
All right, we have a question. Okay, and the way these things work, so if they have something to say, they're going to hold up green. If they don't have anything to say, they're going to hold up red.
Craziest cosplay experience of your life?
Oh gosh. Craziest cosplay experience of your life. Okay, we have 2 green up top, and we have 2 green at the bottom. So I'm going to start with our Power Ranger.
Right off the bat, right out of the gates. Okay, cool. Right out of the 8 gates. Cool. Craziest cosplay experience. Okay.
Y'all don't want to know. This mainly involves travel, right? And as a cosplayer, when you are traveling, especially out of state, you go through TSA. Of course, you gotta go through TSA. And of course, because my suitcase is filled with Power Rangers cosplay, so like this bad boy right here, I get stopped all the time, and especially with some of the props I bring all the time. And so believe this was the first time I brought my Power Rangers cosplay to going to a convention in California. I get stopped by TSA. They said, okay, they have to do an additional back check and everything. Open the suitcase, opens it, and there's this giant like sword prop, and I have to explain to them, yeah, that's for my character, it's for my Power Ranger character, and they're like saying, is it real? I'm like, no, it's not real. It's foam. It's like it looks real. I did like inspect it and everything, and I'm like, it's not real. Like you can toss it around, you can throw it around, you can knock it over, you can bend it, like twist it, whatever. It's not real. I'm not gonna get arrested for this. It's a foam sword. Like I'm not gonna go like rob the plane or whatever. I don't know, but basically, I because of that experience, I almost missed my flight. So, yes, fun times. All right, JoJo.
Does anyone know what "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" is? Yeah, I knew my younger kids knew, but no. So, I competed at LACC in the cosplay masquerade adults category, and that was like one of the first things that I got into. I was like, if I ever make my own cosplay, I want to build the notebook. But not like the newer notebook, like I wanted where she has the big gown and it's got like all the references on it and she's got the big crazy curly hair, and I've never seen anyone do the wig like that. But it was in August And it doesn't matter if it's like supposed to be fall in Louisiana and Texas, it's going to be 900 degrees outside. So I'm wearing like a full body black morph suit and black paint on my neck and white on my face and the rainbow eyeshadow, and like part of my wig's touching my face, and I'm outside taking pictures, and like the cosplay contest is like an hour after I'm taking pictures. And like I call my mom and I'm like, you have to come get me. I was like, something's wrong, I'm rotting. I need to go like freshen up. I get to the hotel, take the wig off because half of it's touching my face. I don't know if anyone's seen the Applause music video by Lady Gaga when she's got like the rainbow and she's like smearing the white and the black all over her face. She's like, give me the thing. Yeah, that's what I look like. And so I had to take all of my stuff off and redo my makeup in like 30 minutes and then put that back on. I won though. And another thing is I competed at Fan Expo in New Orleans as Boozette, and I was trying to take my hoop skirt off, but I sewed it too tight, so it was like hard to take off. And when I was trying to take the skirt off, I have carpal tunnel, and my hand locked up like this, and so I'm just like, help, help, I can't get my skirt off, I can't get it on. So my friend had to come, like, you've seen White Chicks when she's like, you just need to squeeze and get into the jeans. Yeah, that's what I look like. So yeah, do we have any more green up here? Is it down there? All right.
Alright, so it was like one of our first MomoCons, okay, and that's in Atlanta, Georgia. But we were with a group of friends, and only one of us in this group knew how to sew at the time. Well, this one decides to rip his Noctis pants from like A to Z in the middle of the con floor.
I had to strike a pose.
So we had to literally find like a chair for him to sit in and make a circle huddle around him, and she had to, and this is his cousin, okay? So she had to like literally squat down in front of him and sew his pants right there, just right there in the con floor. You know, we tried to hide him, you know, but you know, he had to, that's all we could do, but she had to sew his pants while they were on him. And their cousins. It was just very, yeah.
In the middle of con traffic.
Oh no. It was hilarious afterwards. Hilarious.
Always.
Alright, so I've been cosplaying for 13 years and I've seen a lot of crazy things. I've seen a group of like 12 homestucks with unsealed body paint jump into a hotel pool. But that isn't the craziest thing I've encountered. The craziest thing was right after COVID, I went to a convention for their last year called MechaCon in Louisiana. And we did a panel called Welcome to Shiha Saikai based off of Funny Enough Overhaul. And we were in Overhaul and Aerie from My Hero Academia, and there was a Hawks and a Dobby who really liked our cosplays, and they were like, hey, we're doing a panel about the MHA villains. Do you want to like be like surprise cameo people there? And we're like, yeah, sure, why not? It's a fun time. So at the very end of the panel, this one, we decided to have a little bit where this one like runs out of the panel room and Overhaul runs after Aerie. And Aizawa decided to get in the way, and this part was not planned. I ended up, because I was running, I ended up slamming into the Aizawa and trying to get past, because like we were trying to do a thing, and kind of end up fighting for a moment. He grabs this beak, twists it, and bear in mind that this is brass and leather. Metal does not bend easily. It full on gets bent to the side, like breaks apart, and like it was just kind of a surreal experience of, did I really just get into a fight at a convention over an in-character bit thing? And I've never forgotten that since. Thankfully we were able to fix it, but yeah, this was $300. I was just like,
It felt like Surgeon Simulator fixing that thing with just tweezers and a light.
I saved up so much money.
So my craziest one was the time that I just about took a nosedive at A-Kon when I competed in their cosplay contest. It was the first crafted contest I'd ever done, and I was competing. Because I'm smart. I went go big or go home for my first fully crafted cosplay. I did Fierce Deity Link from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. We did not get a chance to walk the stage before the cosplay contest had started. And I'm wearing whiteout lenses, so I can't see in really bright lights. They had us all lined up, ready to go. I'm in the beginner division. I'm in like the part way through the beginner division. All the lights out there go out. All the lights on stage go on. And even from backstage, I'm like, oh, I can't see. Oh, I can't see. They turn on fog machines. I have asthma. I'm like, oh, I can't see it now. I can't breathe. I can't see. I can't breathe. I can't see. I can't breathe. I can't see. I can't breathe. My handler's next to me. He's just like, do you want me to kind of go on with you? Yes, please. I'm scared that someone in the audience is about to catch a deity. So we go up. Good news, I didn't fall, but it was like the most awkward just walk ever. There's video of it on YouTube, by the way. And if you ever find that video, it's just a Fierce Deity Link awkwardly waddling along with Kirito from Sword Art Online just awkwardly walking behind, kind of just scanning the deity and making sure there's no sudden falling. So that's one that I will definitely never forget, because it's also on the internet for me to keep saying.
Okay, we have one more. So,
with the mention of MechaCon, I did remember, I don't know if it counts, I count it as cosplay, but if you guys have ever seen live action mascots for cons, MechaCon in New Orleans had 2 of these, and back in the day it was in Lafayette, Louisiana, where I'm from. Myself and a friend of mine were the mascots for the convention, and these were the crudest assembled things you had ever seen in the first 5 years of that convention. Partially because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't hire someone to make the first renditions of these cosplays. So there was hot glue involved. And we went to Japan Festival, which is outdoors. These are vinyl and bodysuits, and they're white. And I remember the hot glue. We had Velcro hot gluing these. They literally had Taco Bell sauce cups as part of the construction of these like Lego-looking armor. Literally, the hot glue melted, started melting in the sun. So parts of our mascot uniforms were falling off. Then we decided to consult someone who actually knew how to make cosplay. And then I started learning how to sew because I didn't want to hot glue anything ever again and go in the sun. So that's why I decided to learn how to sew. Yeah, it's a pretty terrible story.
I have a bunch of hot glue mishaps. So anybody want to ask a question? How do you pack things up for travel without breaking anything? Okay, so we're going to start at the top, again with the power, well, let's do somebody who hasn't spoken yet. So let's do Mars first.
How do you pack things? So it definitely depends on what it is. For instance, I have some really intense wigs, right? If with wig work, it can be really difficult traveling, right? So we drive to a lot of the conventions. I haven't brought it on a plane yet, so we'll see how that pairs up. But something I've done is I've had it within a box with packing around it. I'm so sorry. So something what I've done with some more intense wig work, because we're just driving most of the time, is I put it in a box with packing things around it, and of course it has a hairnet over it. And then on top of that, something else that you can do is if you have a foam wig head, you can stick skewers into each side of it to keep it perfectly in the middle of your box, so it's not moving around too much. With prop work, I'm mostly just putting it somewhere and praying. But I've also wrapped it in paper and stuff like that, or just I have a huge wand that I made for my Sailor Peach mashup cosplay, and it's very fragile, so it just sat in the back seat and I just checked on it every 10 minutes. So it definitely depends on what it is.
Going off what Mars said about the wig storage, I personally like to use Build-A-Bear boxes. They're just the perfect size. I got this from a cosplayer in Louisiana, and I've just used it ever since. It's so helpful. But for props specifically, I like to segment them so they can break down easily for travel.
if you have like this gigantic prop, it's gonna be it's gonna be easier to mess up and harder to keep it safe. You're gonna probably need like a lot more material to keep it secure and looking the way you want it to.
Okay, and be an Avenger.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so especially for me, since I've done both characters in brightly colored spandex as well as like armor pieces, do you guys ever get okay, well, raise your hands here actually. Who here gets like newspaper advertisements slash like coupons for like groceries? Every like junk mail, right? Junk mail. Everybody gets junk mail. That is honestly your number one source. Also, old clothes that you don't wear anymore, that you normally would like, oh, I don't wear this anymore, it doesn't fit me, or anything like that. Those also great as well if you want to like use that as stuffing, if you will. For my helmets especially, I take old t-shirts, newspapers, the junk mail. I literally stuff the heck out of my helmets. And then saran wrap and bubble wrap is your best friend. It's because you especially want to like, saran wrap a bunch of times and everything, but especially when you, whether you travel light, like you have a few articles of clothing, or more heavier, if you have like props, armor, helmets, those like just materials around your house is your best friend. I've learned the hard way because I've had 3 helmets cracked just because I didn't properly wrap them or stuff them with the materials. But yeah, stuff around your house, people. Resourcefulness.
All right, Bob and Bobbin. So I'm assuming you're asking because you were in the construction contest. It starts when you are making your costume. If you're making your costume, you need to make sure that it is compartmentalized, easy to take apart, TSA safe, and if you're planning on flying with it, make sure it fits in what you're planning on flying with, as well as hard shell suitcases. And then I think Hannah had something to say about props.
Yeah, so for flying with props, your best bet, if you're bringing something wooden or steel, it seems a bit silly, but a rifle case. You get a rifle case and you send it through like it is a weapon. You can do that with foam as well, but with wood and steel, it is better to be safe than sorry and just send it through as though it is an actual weapon. So a rifle case is your best bet for that, especially with like long swords or things of that nature.
Okay, and Pasadena Cosplay will go to them next.
Okay, so like at Walmart, they have these what's it called? These crates. If you don't want to put like your cosplay in like your suitcase, or you just don't have enough room in your suitcase, especially if you have something that's very delicate, they have crates there that are like probably about that big, and they snap, and they're very heavy duty. But you can put your cosplays and whatever in there, and it'll be safe. So you know what those things are called?
Tupperware, like big tubs. Because I have some for my wigs. That's what I glue my wigs down to.
Yeah, so that's also another way to, put them in so they're safe.
Alright, you can go ahead. Yeah.
So what we usually use for our stuff is kind of a combination of different things. We actually do have like the heavy-duty, hard suitcase. We nicknamed it the Behemoth because it takes up most of the trunk. It's a big thing. Usually when we're organizing the cosplays into Behemoth, we use kind of like a combination of stuff like, if it's something that's able to easily be compressed, crushed, so on and so forth, like say for example a swimsuit, it goes into a plastic bag. The accessories that can go with it that are very durable, it goes in the plastic bag. Plastic bag goes in Behemoth. If it's something where it needs to be hanging and nice, for example this, we use a garment bag. All the pieces are able to relatively go into it. It's able to hang up, very easy to take out of your suitcase, pop it into a closet. It's easy to fly with, easy to drive with. Big props, big agree. Make it where it's able to be broken down. If you're driving, measure out your car before you make the prop, because nothing's worse than loading a prop into the car and the handle sticks out. I remember that. Because you saw it happen when I made that mistake once.
I was there.
And you saw me cry afterwards.
Yes.
So don't do that. Wigs. So fun fact, Arta Wigs, and I learned this thanks to a Christmas gift this one got me, actually has these little pop-up bags that are easily able to carry wigs that kind of has a foam backing. They have one that's relatively tall. It's about as big as a Build-A-Bear case and has a little zip-up along it. as long as your wig isn't styled too far sideways and it's styled more so upwards or something like that. If you saw me as Bowsette yesterday, that wig fits very easily into it. Another thing that wigs, oddly enough, fit very easily into, like this one, a bucket. You just travel with a bucket. Shockingly, the wig head will stay in it. Who knew? Yeah. His Kubo wig? My Moogle. Your Moogle wig's in the bucket right now. Goodbye. Yeah, that was my piece.
And I think Bridget had something to say.
It's me. Okay, so a lot of it has already been said. I cannot reiterate enough. The hard shell suitcase is a lifesaver. In addition to having props that break down, like with PVC couplings that we can screw them and unscrew them, wigs, a lot of times, like this crazy thing here, making separate pieces that can just fit together. These spirals are not, it's a headband that I put on top of this wig so I can bend it in, slide it in an envelope, a bubble envelope actually, like one of those mailers, and it just goes in the hard shell suitcase, laying flat. And yeah, Build-A-Bear boxes, something else I use too, but definitely making wigs disassemblable. I know some people have like the giant ponytails and they don't want the clip-ons. You can actually freestyle like the chibi wigs that already have the part in them, and you can put buns that just fit on over them, like hollowing out pieces of styrofoam that'll fit over the little nubs. And that's more wig styling stuff, but I found like making them come apart just like a staff or a sword or something else is really helpful. And yeah, oh, and also if you're afraid of things sticking together, like your props, I love parchment paper or baking paper to slide between those pieces just for extra protection so that no paint or, ooh, popping my peas there, no paint or anything else gets damaged or stuck together. That's all I got.
All right. Those were all wonderful answers. Any other questions? Yes. What is the hardest cosplay y'all ever made? I'm gonna go with Alan first.
Okay, so I did a Rococo-inspired Cinderella that took me about 2 years on and off, just hand sewing pearls and just crystallizing it and doing the pattern making and all the understructures and everything like that. It took so long because there is no way to do it by machine. All actual hours, I have no idea. I just know that it's probably like 3 months, if I'm being honest. Just because like it's so much. The wig is freaking huge. I have to have somebody hold it if they're going to like transport it anywhere. So it's impossible to move it around. And I can't, it's so wide, I can't even walk through doorways. I have to go sideways.
My hardest one was the big guns. Fierce Deity Link. That one, funny enough, also took me about 3 months trying to model my body with the whole duct tape saran wrap method, turn that into the pattern, transfer the pattern onto the foam, cutting and shaping foam, which is when I learned be careful how long you keep stuff or you'll cook your foam and have to do it again. Clay. This was my first attempt at sewing stuff, dyeing stuff. That was a whole new process where I was dyeing inside while dyeing. Because trying to do that outside in Oklahoma, that was not fun. And yeah, learning the hard way also about make sure you can move in your cosplays, because I couldn't do more than T-pose, which isn't fun. Goodbye. When you have a sword that's about as tall as you, which was insulation foam and a whole other thing. So yeah, that one definitely hardest.
All right, for me, if anyone knows what the heck this is, I will be shocked. It's the character Remina Kanbei from a little manga called Ibitsu. It's a horror manga. Yeah, I know you know it because I told you about it. But, so the main character has this white Lolita dress and everything, but the thing is this character, of course, no doubt being a horror thing, it is very, very damaged, and the reason why this is the hardest one for me is because I literally set a dress on fire. I'm not joking. I had to set the hems in particular on fire, And there's a technique that you use regarding Vaseline for whatever areas you don't want burned. So yeah, I had to cover a good chunk of the dress in Vaseline to make sure that those parts wouldn't catch on fire, but only the parts that I wanted to catch on fire would. So I would do that. I had to, I literally buried it in dirt to get the dirt stains on it. Like, I buried it in dirt. That has literal blood, sweat, and tears and dirt in it. And that's why it was so difficult, because I was just like, I wanted to be extra as hell to make it accurate as hell. Never do that. Never. Do not follow in my footsteps.
Please don't. And now lives a 3-layer garment bag.
But yeah, biggest reason why, just setting a dress on fire. Just setting a dress on fire.
All right, Kyra.
For me, it would definitely have to be Super Sailor Moon. I think just not just because we had to like hand airbrush like ombres onto like the bottom of the skirts or like 3D print props and paint them, and like my partner was in Texas, I'm in Louisiana at the time. It was because we decided 2 weeks before the last MegaCon that we wanted to compete in the contest. So wig styling, like just a lot of like stuff. It was just like kind of crazy, I think, too. I was covered in paint. I worked sun up to sundown, sister can say, for 2 weeks. Don't do it. Don't con crunch. That's my PSA. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm guilty, though. I'm a sinner.
Yeah, never con crunch.
I know you are.
I think the hardest one I've ever made was about 6 to 4 months on and off of constant crocheting, like a fully crocheted costume. I was going through some stuff with work, and that was my like stress relief. So that one was probably the most difficult, just in terms of sheer volume of how much yarn, how long it took to do, between like arthritis flare-ups and whatnot. So that one was probably the hardest one for me to do.
I think the hardest one for me, we love historical stuff, and this was our first foray into historical sewing. It was Yamato no Kami from Yasusada Yamato no Kami from Token Ranbu, which is like based off of an actual Japanese military uniform from the Edo period, which is the 1600s. That costume came with a bibliography when it was all said and done. And it's really hard too, because when it comes to Japanese historical sewing, there's just not a lot of sources here in America for it. And I was actually having to look up Japanese museums and just look at their images that they have posted online. And I was like, how worth it is it to go to Japan just to go to this one museum to see this one uniform they have? Because I really wanted to see the dye up close and be, how do they do it? And there are a lot of mistakes on that, and I would really like to try another Edo period costume and just see how much I've grown since that costume, but I'm still really proud of it and the research and what I've learned and gained from it.
Okay, Bridget?
Okay, so unfortunately my two most ridiculous cosplays that were the hardest to make and hardest to move in are both from video games that you may or may not have even heard of. One of them I did a long time ago. It was my first complicated piece. It was Cosmos from Xenosaga Episode 1. It was my first attempt at a duct tape body form, which I did too tight, and then making the pattern was hard enough because there was no pattern in existence. It has these armored little bumps on the front that I didn't know how to make. I made them out of foam. But the hardest part was she's got these like rim, almost like bicycle, like, you know, the thing that goes over a tire on a bike. 2 of those on her hips, plus these butt missiles. And I call them butt missiles because I don't know what else to call them, but they open up in the game in this one cutscene. Anyway, I could not sit. I made them out of little Nerf footballs, covered them in Warbler, which was the worst idea ever. Now that I know what I know now, I would have made them out of foam so that I wasn't stabbing people when backing up or whatever. And then I made it, the way I fastened it was totally stupid. I had these snaps that were almost inaccessible, so taking the skirt piece off was not only an embarrassing feat, but it took so long it wasn't even worth sitting. So I've learned a lot since then. It was a learning experience. The other one that was just painstakingly long to make was from Odin Sphere. It was originally for PS2, but PS4, there's a port. So there's this character named Gwendolyn. She's a Valkyrie. She's got these bird wings that are on her hips, which means no sitting. So I've got this bird butt happening, and it was each individual feather was hand cut and carved and heat shaped out of EVA foam onto a larger shell that's in the shape of the wing. And while those fastened easily, I put snaps on my actual bodice, but it was so heavy that the skirt underneath was supposed to fan out in these like, almost like a Hercules looking leather panels hanging down. So I used, I think, like galvanized steel mesh in it to hold its shape, and the wings were so heavy it was literally pulling down the strapless bodice, which I should have used a stronger boning in. But it was just a ridiculously heavy costume and a lot of cutting and gluing and... Oh, and then there was leg armor that I attached with magnets that was constantly turning on my legs, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm done with armor. But no, I'm actually making an armored cosplay, so no, I didn't learn my lesson. But yeah, anything with armor and feathers.
For me, so I do a lot of closet cosplays. That's just how I started doing things. So lots of like thrifting and styling pieces. So the process of actually crafting something and like making something more unique from scratch is very, very new. So if any of you guys saw yesterday, we were our Sailor Moon Super Mario mashup. And so Mars was Sailor Peach, I was Sailor Toadette. So I was doing a Chibiusa and Toadette cosplay. So I took a wig that was not a pigtail wig. I should have just bought a pigtail wig. It's very hard to make it something else. But yeah, I like had extra wefts that I took out of something else, and I learned how to create wefts for the first time and sew those in, and I like made the poofs with wire underneath them and learned how to do all of that for the first time, which I barely ever do like a lot of wig styling. My hair underneath this is pink, so I just do a lot of pink characters, so I don't have to do wigs. But yeah, and then I learned how to 3D model and 3D print for my wand that I made, which was like very custom, and I learned how to use this program called Blender in like 2 weeks and made all of that. And 3D printing with resin is a whole thing. It's like just a big process, because it's a lot more than filament sometimes, because there's like the cleaning process and curing, and it's just so much. So yeah, the cosplay I did yesterday was probably my most intense one.
So like the super hardest one I ever did was go back to the Notebook from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, because if you've seen Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, they're literally puppets and she's just a piece of paper. She has no design. She's just like a notebook. Like you would see, like you get like the St. Jude notebooks or notepads in the mail. It's what she is. So like so they came like back in like I don't remember when Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared came out, like 2011, 2010 maybe. Maybe I'm just old. But they came out with like designs for her and the clock, which those were the 2 chapters that were only out at the time. So, and I've never seen anyone like actually do that cosplay, because you can't buy the cosplay because she's a piece of paper. They don't make her dress. So I had to make the dress, I had to make the wig, and she's got like, in the artwork, she's got like these huge curls. Like if you've ever seen like the spiral hair from Junji Ito, it's kind of what her hair looks like in the art. So I had to figure out a way to do that with a wig, and I've never seen anyone do that with a wig before. I messaged Lynn, I was like, how do I do this? He was like, I'll have to tell you. You gotta figure it out. And I was like, okay, thanks. So that was my super hardest one, and I made like this giant pencil, and I felt like Doodle Bob all day on stage with my pencil. And then also, like I do a lot of cosplays like Haley, because I'm a goober and I'm stupid and I don't know how to wait for things to come in the mail, because I want to do the cosplay now. Yeah. So I built Circus Baby from Sister Locations. I built her stuff out of cardboard and a strapless bra I had, and I painted it all in one night. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. My mom she gets up and she's, what are you doing? And I'm like, a baby. That, and then also, if anyone's seen the new Spider-Man movie, everyone loves Miguel O'Hara, as they should, and I didn't have body paint, and I was stupid and impatient, so I used acrylic paint on my body to paint Spider-Man 2099 suit on, and I clogged my bathtub up trying to take the paint off because I'm dumb. But it looked really good, and now I'm going to get his actual suit because I'm stupid. But thank you.
Sorry, I'm just, dang. I mean, I get commitment, but dang. I love the commitment, and God, may go. What's up? Questionable. Okay, well, I'll get to my story. Let's see. Okay, most complicated cosplay I've done. Okay, so some might not be familiar with this particular series, and it's also a book as well. If anyone has ever heard of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Okay, so cool. I got a woo. So okay, so in the series, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, as well as there's a video game that came out of it, Dynasty Warriors. I'm a Dynasty Warriors like fan through and through. There's one character, pretty much one of the warlords of the kingdom, Sun Jian, right? And Sun Jian, just like any other Chinese warlord and gods and deities, they have these, just like kind of like the Edo periods of Japan, Chinese warlords. They also have these very intricate details and designs and everything. I'm like, okay, let's do this. But then at the time, this was 2014. I had just gotten to cosplay in 2012. As I mentioned before, so I was very, very inexperienced. But I'm like, and I decided, 2 years in, let me do my most complicated cosplay. This cosplay here had armor, had a big old flowing cape, and just like Edna mode in capes. No capes! No capes! So designing the cape, designing the armor, designing the cuffs, the sword, especially Sun Jian's sword. And for reference, if you look up his sword, it's literally called the 9-ring blade. It is a giant buster sword from like Berserk, and like with 9 rings all along here, so I have to drill holes, each individual hole, to put the 9 rings in there. And also, I don't know how I got away with this. Maybe because it was because of this particular con in Onicon in Galveston. I don't know how I got away with this, but because the sword itself was made out of wood, the rings were metal, I shouldn't have been cleared for that. Like, I don't know what it is about weapon safety check. I should not have been cleared for that. But somehow I magically got cleared for it, got permitted to still enter the cosplay contest. And in that cosplay contest, I was thinking, okay, cool, I have this body armor and everything, but wait, it's Texas. It's hot. The body armor unfortunately literally melted on stage, because I did a couple of routines, like I did like some moves, I did like a line or two, like I did like voiceover lines, and right when I'm like, I did like this roar sound, roar, bop, and I'm like, and I played it off, right, as you should. You should play it off when things don't go your way on a cosplay stage performance. But that piece of armor, lovely, lovely piece of work, was definitely my most complex one, and I do plan on redoing that character someday. But yeah, fun times.
All right, so we're getting towards the end. So I'm going to just pose a question. What is the one piece of advice you would give to a cosplayer who is just starting out, who's new, who wants to, delve into the stressful, sometimes terrifying, world of cosplay? All right, so let's start with Alan.
So the biggest thing, first of all, is just do it. Like, don't be afraid to do something. Like, I don't care if you have no idea what you're doing. There is probably a YouTube video for it somewheres. And like most cosplayers, especially at conventions, if you ask them like how to do something, they'll most likely tell you if they have made it, or if they looked at a particular video or something. They'll usually tell you like what they used or anything like that to kind of help you along, because that's the biggest thing that I've seen for people that were scared to get into cosplay. They wanted to take that step but wouldn't do it. Just go for it. Take that jump, because that is the biggest part of it.
All right, I'm going to go to Bob and Vomit because I think they have a panel to get to.
I'll let you go first. I don't know what you're going to say. I don't know what you're going to say. You go say, if you say something, I'll just want to say.
Okay. Because I think you're going to say the same thing.
What are you going to say?
Just say it.
Go for it.
Y'all both say it.
That's what you're going to say. Yeah. What are you going to say? Okay. I was gonna say, as far as social media, where you keep your content, always have a website. Social media is something that is always going to be out of your control. It is a third party ran by someone else. Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter and ruin it for everyone. YouTube's going to have an apocalypse. Facebook might one day just delete your entire account and you'll lose all your pictures and everything. You need to have a website or and a backup where you are in control of all your content creation and everything you post, and nothing will happen to it and it won't be deleted one day without you knowing.
I was also going to say that. Just to tag on a little bit to it, if you don't own your content, you don't own your content. If you put your content in someone else's hands, via YouTube, Instagram, it's fine, cross post. But if it's gone and you don't have any backup for it, it's gone forever. And then my general life advice is to never pass up a free meal or a chance to use the restroom. And the older you get, the truer that will be. I want you to remember those words.
You want me to go? For me, as a POC cosplayer, you are the character you're dressed as, despite the color of the skin, how you look, like if you're shorter than the character, taller than the character, plus size, smaller, it doesn't matter, and no one can tell you anything, so do what you love, and don't be afraid. Period.
All right, Court.
Please don't put your health at risk for a cosplay.
You're guilty of it too.
Not as bad. I can't control the asthma. But if you are capable of doing something that will not put your health at risk, please don't. If you know keeping contacts in for too long is going to hurt you, don't do it. If you know that something is going to squeeze on you a little too tight, loosen it up. It's okay. Have your stuff fit you okay. Don't cause yourself unnecessary pain. It's not worth it. You may think it is. It's not. It really isn't. So please, be comfortable by looking fabulous.
All right. So my personal bit of advice is that if you have sensory issues regarding a specific cosplay material and cannot use that material, you are under no obligation to use it. I actually cannot physically touch craft foam or EVA foam because it causes major sensory issues. There is always an alternative. In my case, there is Fibra, there is Wonderflex, there is other kinds of thermoplastics that I can work with if I want to work with armor. There will always be an alternative. It's a little difficult to find it, but thankfully the cosplay community is becoming a little bit more accessible to those of us with disabilities or sensory issues. There is always something. You are not a bad cosplayer because you can't use something.
All right. I'm going to go to Bridget.
My biggest advice for anyone doing cosplay or anything, this is even not just cosplay, but anything that you do online. Social media doesn't matter, okay? I hear people go, oh, but I only have 5,000 followers, I only have 2,000, I have 100. It doesn't matter if you have 2 followers or if it's just your mama that's seeing you cosplay, okay? Really what it is about is it's a creative journey for people. It's an artistic expression. If it's making you happy, who cares if it makes anybody else happy but yourself? Don't count likes. Don't count followers. And ask all the questions. If you don't know how to do something, a good cosplayer will always give you advice, and good advice. A bad cosplayer will gatekeep, but you don't need their advice. Always reach out to people because I know, speaking probably for everyone sitting up here, we love talking about what we do. We want to tell you how we did it. And we want to know how you did what you did. Even if you think that we know everything, we don't. We really don't. It's a community. It's about making friends. And I think one of the things that's made my cosplays get better is working with other people that have different skills than me. I have a crafting group. I have 3 or 4 people, 5 people. Lynn is one of them sometimes. They are at my house and we are crafting and making wigs and things. Having friends that do it and sharing that together, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you more knowledgeable. And it's definitely keeps you, if you have a bad habit of procrastinating, having somebody showing up in about an hour at your house is definitely going to light a fire under that booty, so you'll be working on your stuff.
On that note, ignore the haters. They're not worth it. You do not have to comment back. Just hit the block button and move on. You know, you don't have to put oil in the fire or anything like that. You know, you just block them. They're not worth it. You know, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, this is about you, not them, not nobody else. And nobody should be able to change your opinion like that. So just keep doing you.
Just keep in mind that accuracy is not everything, and don't drive yourself crazy trying to make yourself look like an anime character, because everyone's going to do it differently, and that's what makes cosplay so beautiful. Everyone has a different way of doing things, and also just be willing to learn, because there's never going to be a perfect cosplayer. A cosplayer may be like world-renowned for their foam work, but they may not be that good at sewing. They may not work with wood that often. There's always just room to grow, so be willing to adapt with that and just have fun with it, because we're just dressing up as fictional characters. Like, it's supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Hello, how are you doing? Cosplay is probably one of the best hobbies and side jobs that I have, and that it's grown on me over the years. Best advice I could probably give to you is that no matter what someone tells you, family member wise, friends, other people, they'll put you down or they'll say certain things. The only thing I can really say is continue doing what you love and keep pushing forward, learning new skills, and obtaining knowledge bases from your peers and friends in the field, and you'll grow into it. Just keep doing you, and you'll do great.
Hi. So one thing I did want to say is, okay, so I do social media professionally. It's what I do for a living, and it's something that I think is so, it's so much. It's not that important in con spaces, and I feel like people don't understand that all the time, you know what I mean? Like, it is a fun thing that I do, it is my job, and if you want to monetize your content, if you want to monetize being a cosplayer, it's definitely a great thing to get into, right? Because it's you know, it's a fun way to make a living, but you know, when you go into these con spaces, I think like something that's so important is understanding that like these people that are surrounding me are like so talented. No matter where I go, no matter what con I'm at, every cosplayer you run into has some kind of specialty or thing they're amazing at, you know, no matter what they're doing online or in what space or contest they've won, you know. Like, I've met people who've never won a contest and they have the most amazing work I've ever seen. So like, I think that two things. One, if you want to like monetize and get into doing that kind of professionally, social media is a good tool. It's a fun thing to do. But also, like, when you're in con spaces, like, you know, it doesn't matter. There are going to be people who you've never seen online before that are going to be the most fantastic prop workers, seamstresses you've ever met. And I think that's, you know, we're a chronically online generation, at least my generation is, and I think that's such an important thing to like know when you go into con spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. Piggybacking off of that a little bit, so I also do social media, and what's so interesting to me about the cosplay sphere is that everyone is in it for a different reason. Like, all of us want to do different things. You have people that are master prop makers. You have people who are incredible at sewing, incredible at foam work. You have people who really like performance. Like, we love doing performance things. That's part of why we do social media stuff so much. We like the videography of it and the directing and the choreography and the acting. But there's a million different reasons why people get into cosplay. And if there's something you don't like, don't do it. Like, wig work is interesting. I learned a fuck ton whenever I did the Chibiusa Toadette thing. But it's not something that I have the patience for. So this wig, I didn't do anything to it. I took it out of a bag and I put it on my head. And it worked, and that's fine. Yeah, and there's no shame in it at all. And also, another thing, closet cosplay is super valid. You don't have to buy your thing from somewhere. You can piece together things from a thrift store, things that you already own, and you can, like, I go to the thrift, this mask I got at a fabric from a random shirt at a thrift store, and I just sewed it together, you know? Like, you don't have to do all of these, like, crazy fancy things to have something that looks really incredible. So find the thing you love and do that. That's the biggest thing.
Don't let anyone discourage you. If you want to do cosplay, do it for you. Don't do it because you want to be famous and rich. Do it because you have fun. And you like to surround yourself with people like this. And everyone's here for the same reason. We want to be stupid little nerds and dress up and have fun together in one big room.
You won't be famous and rich.
I won't be famous and...
I am living off of $70 this month.
We have no money. And like another thing, like Haley said, closet cosplays, that's where I started. A majority of cosplay players, that's where they start. And I don't care. You don't have to look like the character. If you say you're that character, you're that character. And like, a lot of people get hate for it, but I think accessorizing your cosplays is cute. It's so cute. Like, as long as your accessories go with the character, I think it's so cute. And like, don't let anybody be like, you can't be that character, because, no, you can. And it doesn't matter if anyone doesn't know what you're cosplaying from. As long as you know what you're cosplaying from, it's for you. You're not cosplaying for them. You're cosplaying for your own enjoyment and your own happiness. So if you want to cosplay from this thing that nobody knows what you're talking about, do it.
Okay, I'll be real quick because I know we've definitely gone over 30 seconds ago. Do what you love, yeah, and of course when it comes to cosplaying, research. I cannot stress that enough. The internet is your best friend. Like, resources, everything, books, pictures, media, everything. And piggybacking off of everyone, please take care of yourselves. Eat, hydrate. You do not want to pass out. I had to take some of my friends to the ER and hospitals because they did not take care of themselves while in cosplays. So, please take care of yourselves. Please hydrate, please eat. And yes.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.